Welcome to the Escape Room Experts Podcast, your source for tips, techniques, and strategies on how to approach escape rooms and how to use them for both fun and team building.
Hi there. We are the Escape Room Experts. I am Sandy Keene.
And I'm Tony Duckett.
And we are coming to you from the School of Hard Locks in coastal Oceanside, California. Beautiful sunny day today.
Hope you guys are not cold out there.
That's right.
That was from my brothers.
You know, when I first moved to a warm climate, I used to put that on my voicemail. Hi, this is Sandy. It's 91 degrees and sunny. What's it like where you are? Anyway, today we're going to talk about how escape rooms are great for multi-generations.
Yes. So this is a pretty wide topic. So,
oh, yeah.
Kids love discovering things. So if you take 13-year-olds and throw them in a room in your kids' rooms at home, they touch everything, they move everything.
Oh my God, they touch everything.
By the time you get in there, the room is a total mess and you don't know where things are. So throwing them in a room where it's okay to touch things is great for them.
And where they don't have to clean it up at the end because there's somebody who's paid to do that. That's even better.
I always like when there's a parent in the room with them, when the parent says, okay, we can put this back together. I go, no, that's okay.
Yeah, well, we got this.
And then you hear this, and they run out.
Yeah.
So it's great for young kids because it also makes them do something that a lot of them don't have to do nowadays. With all of this technology, they don't have to have conversations and they don't have to think things through together. They do have group projects and they do those things, but they do them over computers and long distances, and that's all great. But that face-to-face thing is almost lost with this current generation. This gives them a chance to work really well together. Yeah,
we find that, and it really doesn't matter what age. I have people say, what age can we bring? And I think depending upon who else is going to be in the room is in part how you decide what's the youngest age that should come to an escape room.
Right.
Also the theming, by the way, parents pay a lot of attention. A lot of escape rooms have scary themes. So you want to be careful if you're bringing young kids that there's not a live zombie that's going to try and eat them while they're in the room. Because, that's not a fun conversation once you get home.
And and also, if your kid's really competitive, it may not, that zombie thing, sometimes zombies touch you and you're out for a long time.
Yeah, it's not
if you got a really competitive kid, then he's going to disrupt the room when he's out. How dare you tell me I can't do anything because a zombie touched me? That's why we kind of stay away from that. Our rooms are challenging enough that we don't need a zombie or a snake or a spider.
Yeah, but a lot of people like that, and a lot of people have fun with that, and they like that scary aspect to it. So when you're deciding what age to bring a kid, one of the things I would say is there really is nothing that's too young. We've had 5-year-olds who find things and figure things out. It depends on the 5-year-old. But if you're coming as a family, then by all means, don't hesitate to bring any age kid and give them the opportunity to participate and to play.
You'd be surprised at what young kids can do. They are, let's back up. We come to rooms with baggage.
Yes, we do.
Right? So we think we know how things work. And nothing is as simple as it seems. And sometimes a kid says, yes, it is.
And it is.
And it is. So you need someone who accepts it at face value, and people who can read through between the lines. And sometimes we have trouble with face value.
But that actually leads to having somebody like that balanced out by somebody who sees it a different way. Those two perspectives can be exactly what you need to solve a puzzle.
Absolutely. So young kids work great.
Yep.
But it also works well for that tweener, those people who are the teenagers to 20-year-olds. Those are great folks to have in the room as well.
So I had somebody a couple of days ago who said to me, my 17-year-old, I know that's not really a tweener, but it kind of goes with that because we both have tweeners. So they said, my 17-year-old's going to think they're too cool to do this. And no, I don't want to go and do that with a family. Absolutely not the case.
Well, they'll get in there. They'll start that.
Right.
But they don't want to be outdone by anybody else either. So they are... That's that age group where they think they know everything. I kind of remember being there. I think that was last Tuesday. No, but so that those guys and gals want to be right all the time. So if they get in the room and start seeing other people be successful, they slowly integrate themselves into the group and almost take over the room.
Yes.
Their energies take over the room and they start telling people well, this is how we work this out, because of course they just learned it in school, so things must be true the way they know.
Well, there are things that they did just learn in school. My 12-year-olds, part of math is doing logic puzzles. If there's a math puzzle or a logic puzzle in one of the rooms, they're all over that because it's the way their brain is being taught to think. So that age group can be really effective in the room. Again, as you said, because they don't bring baggage and because they're seeing things differently than we see it in middle age, I guess is what we would call ourselves. I'm not going towards old. I'll stick with middle age.
That's it. I don't even like to get there, but we'll take that.
Okay.
We'll take that. And then you also have folks who are a little older than them, not quite senior citizens, but that young parent who's in the room, that 35, 40-year-old.
Are we skipping the 20s?
Well, I'm going to leave them out.
Okay.
They don't count. But that 20 to 30, 35-year-old who's bringing these folks together for the first time, all of them have experiences that somehow in these rooms will help them lead somebody to some answer. And your experiences becomes really important. Your perspective becomes important. Your ability to share those perspectives will figure out which one of them makes the most sense. So the ability for those three groups of people initially to work together is really the secret.
Absolutely.
The age groups don't matter much. It's really their ability to work well together.
So the cool thing about an escape room is it's the kind of thing that can appeal to kids, it can appeal to millennials, it can appeal to people in their middle ages, and it can also appeal to senior citizens.
Yes.
And you can do it separately for each of those groups. So for instance, we see a lot of people that come in and escape rooms make great date night. Right? You get 4 couples together, you get the husband, the wife, the husband, however it works.
But not first date, remember?
Not
that.
a first date.
Okay.
We talked about that. But for date night, you can bring people together and it becomes a really fun thing because it's not only something that's totally different and that nobody has any idea what it's going to be, but it becomes great conversation when you go out afterwards.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and what I loved, I don't want you to tell the story again. When the seniors come in, there was a time in our lives where we valued the wisdom of people who have been through a long life and they've had all this information that they've gathered. And I think we've gotten away from that sometimes with this Google and Wikipedia, and that those are supposed to be your elders now. But some of the stories that your parents, your grandparents, your grandparents can tell, if you're lucky enough to have them, can tell you absolutely blow Wikipedia away, and they blow Google away. But we forget to ask. So will you just share that story about the youngster?
Yeah, so we had a family that came in, and it was multiple generations. It was at least 3, it may have even been 4 generations. And I would say that the oldest person in the room was probably late 70s. Mm-hmm. It was a grandparent, and then there were tweens, and everybody in between. I think it was a family of 8 people. And we watch and we see what goes on. But my favorite part of them playing together was at the end when we opened up the door and we started talking to them. And the tween, 11, 12 years old, turned to Grandma and said, "Grandma, I didn't know you were so smart." And I love that story because the escape room is an opportunity for Grandma to appreciate what the kid can offer and for the kid to appreciate what Grandma can offer. Because if there are puzzles in the room, well, maybe Grandma loves to do puzzles and can see, if you're a crossword puzzle, your brain works a certain way. And maybe Grandma does crossword puzzles and so was able to figure that out. And the kid never knew that was a skill besides Grandma sitting and playing, on her crossword puzzle. But unlike a lot of other entertainment things, everybody can enjoy the escape room to the same degree. If you go bowling, odds are Grandma's not always, but Grandma's not going to be quite as good as Dad. Right? But in the escape room, Grandma may outshine everybody.
And I think what it does, and that is bigger than the escape room. What I love about that story is it brings a family closer together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that when they left there, on the way home, there were different levels of conversation. And I hope that youngster understood that there are questions I should be asking my grandmother because there's stuff she knows that I didn't even think she did. So that's one of those feel-good things that come out of it. It doesn't happen that often, but there's lots of those. There's lots of things when you discover. If you're a parent who just is trying to reach your kid, you can have that same experience.
Absolutely.
You learn to appreciate the things that your kid knows, because our kids, quite frankly, have access to more information than we ever had before. So they are way smarter than we were at those ages. We should appreciate that.
I dispute that. They are not smarter than we were. They just know how to get to information better than we knew how to get to it.
Well, because they get...
I can't believe the things my kids don't know. I put them in a room and and I'm like, really? How can you not know how to do that?
But they do know things that we never knew how to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So their information, I guess there was this movie with all of these robots and this input, and they have access to input we didn't have. So they have access to information and data that we did not have.
And they know how to get to it better.
And they know how to get to it. Well, let's see. We had to go to the library. Who could go outside in the cold?
Dewey Decimal System.
That's right. Yeah. They have no idea.
You know, they have no idea. But as a parent of a teen, not just a tween, but as a parent of a teen, I know that if he and I were locked in a room, besides the fact that we'd probably kill each other, there are things that he would be able to see and do in a way that would probably give me a new appreciation. And I would hope that there are things that he would see me do that would give him a new appreciation for me.
And I think what may happen in those intergenerational moments when everyone's in the room together is there'll be different levels of calm and poise and all of those things get shared in this 1 hour environment.
Yeah.
And it gives kids an opportunity, because I think you learn by doing, you also learn by watching, and you learn by watching other people do things. And if you can't see them go through these challenges and work through them in a poised way, you don't understand what poise actually is.
Now, the only meltdowns we've ever seen in the room have been teens. With their families, not with their peers, but with their families. Every once in a while you see a little temper tantrum, and it's not a toddler having it. It's absolutely a teen, which is kind of fun. They wind up sitting in the corner sulking and not helping anybody, but it doesn't happen very often, but that's the only time we've ever seen it.
The 2 times I saw it was young men, unfortunately. And then on the way out, all he said was, "I told you what the answers were."
Yeah, they always know what the answer is. The last group I want to talk about is seniors. When we first opened up the escape room and we started going to senior communities and senior centers and saying, hey, we have this cool new thing for you to do, they were really hesitant because they saw it as something that would be geared towards younger people. Mm-hmm. They didn't understand what the concept was. But what we found by having groups of seniors come in for date night, for a ladies' night, for a guy's night out, is that seniors actually do really well in the room. Sometimes it's because maybe they are puzzle people. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's based on what the theme of the room is. Our rooms tend to fit that really well. But they understand the idea of working together.
And I'm going to steal one of your concepts, and I know you're going to hate me for this, but this is probably one of the things you came up with I thought was the most brilliant thing we've done ever. We live in Oceanside. Our business is in Oceanside. Right down the road from us is one of the largest marine bases in the country. So you could go there and do team building and run through the mud and jump and swing on vines.
And it's fun.
And it's a lot of fun. But if you're a senior and you don't want to do that because it hurts afterwards.
Yeah.
If you're my age, it hurts afterwards. And I don't tell you what that is. But Sandy came up with this idea, which I thought was brilliant, and we use it all the time. It's this place and all escape rooms are ropes courses for your mind.
Yeah, it is.
So it's the same level of anxiety, of anxiousness that you feel when you're running through the mud. It's the same challenge. It's the same anxiety that you need, the time pressures.
To get the adrenaline going.
Exactly, yeah. But you just don't have to exert the kind of physical energy necessary, but your mind is still sharp and it will tell you if you can get through it.
Yeah, and my mother, and I won't say how old she is because she would kill me, but my mother has done escape rooms and contributes in ways that even surprise her in how she can contribute. And we see that all the time. And I actually think that it's a fabulous thing to keep seniors doing fun, cutting edge stuff that oftentimes they think is just not for them and that they can't participate in. And some of my favorite groups that we've had through here have been some girls' night out.
And it's so social. I mean, again, you mentioned this early on, but when it's over, it still fosters so much conversation.
They talk about it for weeks. Absolutely. So really, escape rooms are something that are good for any generation in and of itself. You can bring a group of kids and do a birthday party. You can do it for millennials as a fun social event. You can do it for middle-aged people as date night. You can do it for seniors, right? You can do it for all of them together and have everybody play together and appreciate each other. But no group should feel like they're excluded or that it's a kind of thing that they can't handle or won't enjoy, because it really is enjoyable for anybody at any age.
Yeah, if you open up your mind and just take it in as it's kind of a TV show. If you like to watch CSI, it's not much different than CSI. You walk in and you're an investigative reporter for the day and you've got to figure out things to do. If you're more of a physical person who likes to go out and run through Camp Pendleton like we talked about, well, your brain will run through this obstacle course as well.
Absolutely.
So there's something for everyone here.
Yeah. So until next time, I'm Sandy Keene.
And I'm Tony Duckett.
We are the Escape Room Experts. Thanks for watching.